The UK heatwave has had me not wanting to do anything, so I forgot how to make videos. Sorry guys. I did promise several back in May though, and I'm gonna deliver, even if I'm extremely late. And there's no better movie to hearken my return than Supergirl, because I've been disguising myself as a cinephile all my life, when in reality, I'm normal. I'm just like you guys. I love cape shit. What the fuck is a split diopter? And frankly, this was a movie I had highish expectations for. Kara Zor-El, and as I will be calling her, Kara, throughout most of this video. I happen to be very attached to certain fictional characters and speak of them as if we are good friends. Yes, I am neurodivergent, how could you tell? And the Maiden of Might happens to be my third favourite superhero, right after Patrick Batman and The Moon.
The Moon!
Sadly, I don't have a bust of Kara in my room yet, but I've become a little obsessed with 3D printing and might take matters into my own hands soon. But Supergirl is the second movie to be a part of James Gunn's new DCU, and the first movie to not be directed by him, as many of his haters need to be informed. I've been hyped to see more of Millie Alcock's performance as this character since her debut at the end of Superman, where she captured everyone's hearts by truly embodying a girl failure. Now the critic had me thinking this movie was a massive fumble, and I was sad for like a full week since I couldn't see this day one like I originally intended. This is also the first Supergirl movie in 42 years, so I thought she was getting sent to Brazil for eternity if this one was bad. Because after the last one came out, the reception was so bad they literally killed her, and she didn't come back for a very long time. Because of this, and frankly, a lot of the really bad writing Mrs. Zor-El had to go through to get to the point she's at today, a lot of the time she's had to be portrayed as an edgier Superman who isn't afraid to just mech people when they're bad enough. Like, Superman will throw you in prison, but Kara will kill you. This time around, a lot of the plot is certainly taken from Woman of Tomorrow, which happens to be my favourite Supergirl comic. Okay, I know, that's not exactly a hot take, although Twitter has decided to do some revisionism recently saying that it's actually bad. And while the Green Goblin mask speaks to Tom King every time he writes a Wonder Woman comic,
So, I don't know, yeah, probably just gonna end it all or something.
check in on your local Wonder Woman fan, okay? They're not in a very good place right now, even with the efforts of Kelly Thompson. Sadly, I'm a Batman fan though, so I'm always eating good. So Supergirl, directed by Craig Gillespie, who I only really know as having done Cruella. I'm sorry guys, I don't need to watch a documentary they made about my life. There's too many traumatic memories. It follows, well, Supergirl, duh, who else would have followed? Oh yeah, this kid. Kara, played by Millie Alcock, who shot into stardom with her role in House of the Dragon, is celebrating her 23rd birthday with her best friend in the whole wide world. Alcohol. And her dog, I guess, I don't know. I don't think Kevin is all that important right now. Unfortunately, the movie does interrupt our montage of hot girl shit to develop the plot, as we see Ruthie, played by Eve Ridley, the iconic voice actor of Wendy Wolf, and Maple Monkey. Okay, it should be illegal for someone's filmography to have this much whiplash. What the fuck is Little Baby Bump? Eve is a British actress, and it shows. I can't really judge her performance too much because this is absolutely a theatrical debut, and she's like 14. But let's just say I have very differing opinions about Ruthie in the book and Ruthie in the movie. But her story remains mostly similar. She's chilling at her homestead with her family, who are basically just farmers, but her dad makes really cool weapons. So these blacksmith enthusiasts, led by the average 35-year-old goth guy, Creme of the Yellow Hills, played by Matthias Schoenaerts, in a very different portrayal of the character compared to the comic. Anyway, these fellows ask to make a humble purchase of his weaponry, and after displaying his wares to his newfound friends, they decide they need to see a demonstration and kill him and Ruthie's entire family. Damn, didn't realize the Brigands were Marvel Rivals players. Seeking a warrior strong enough to beat the living shit out of Krem and his goon squad, Ruthie ventures into a wretched hive of scum and villainy, and ends up teaming up with the only woman there. Valid, honestly. If I needed to find someone willing to fight alongside me at my local Wetherspoons, I'm not approaching Barry 63. He's got that look in his eyes. Unfortunately, Kara is too busy celebrating her birthday week. Yeah, she's one of those. But Ruthie's persistence leads her to finally convince Kara to join her. Also, her dog got shot with a poison dart. That will stop his heart in 3 days. But yeah, Crypto is dying and this is a race against the clock to find a cure. First thing I want to say is this is by far the best live-action portrayal of Kara Zor-El to date, and unfortunately, that isn't a high bar. I mean, she had the 1984 movie that lost DC so much money they threw in the Phantom Zone, and then she was in the CW shows that just kind of made a Superman but a gal, and that's lame as hell. Obviously there's many interpretations of the character across the comic books, but sometimes it takes a while before a definitive version is finally produced. I kid you not when I mean Moon Knight, who originated in the 80s, only became the best version of himself in 2016. Everything beforehand either completely ignored the importance of his trauma and mental illness, or tried to discuss it in ways that were either incredibly wrong or massively vilified him. In short, the 2006 run of Moon Knight fucking sucks. I want it erased from my brain. Wait, wasn't this a Supergirl video? Yeah. The traumatized by Krypton's destruction, never really at home version of Kara Zor-El will always be my favorite, and the one I think is the most interesting to pull from. Especially in the current state of the DCU, where the only movie we have is Superman. Seeing the impact his troubles have had on him, and immediately following up with Kara's is a pretty solid way to do things. It also really helps that Millie Alcock is giving a really commendable performance of the character. James Gunn said that it dawned on him to cast her when he saw her drunk at the Golden Globes, and that's both incredibly funny and iconic. She's able to play this Gale failure in a very easy to empathize way. I think Kara is a difficult character to play because the general public has a lot of problems when it comes to characters that are not nice people. If you have people with edge who sometimes lash out and have internalized trauma, then you're gonna get hit with the anti-media literacy beam. A certain other property that had its finale recently is struggling from the same thing. It's always worse when it's a female character doing it too. Everyone loves how cocky and smug Han Solo is, especially when he shoots a guy in his opening scene to portray how much of a crook he is, but when a woman who drinks herself to death is a little mean, that's inexcusable. As for the other characters, their performances are fine, I guess. Like I said, I can't really judge Eve Ridley as Ruthie, although her being incredibly British when she's from an alien planet is something. I genuinely had to hold in my laughter when she said pub at one point. Like, did we colonize space too? Krem's actor is actually doing a pretty solid job at making him hateable. Although I feel like saying that is just kind of cope at times because he's pretty generic in the movie. Krem was never really a huge driving force to the story character-wise, but he was more meant to be an embodiment of privilege and avoiding consequences for actions to harm others, and how often women end up being the victims of these actions. And when seeing things from this angle, I do understand why they took his character the way they did. I don't think it's necessarily an improvement though, but it does work with the story they want to tell. A story that is sadly very relevant today. And you may notice I've avoided talking about another character who happens to be in all the marketing for this movie, and that's because I don't wanna. Okay, fine. Jason Momoa is a huge fan of Lobo from the comics, and that makes me curious on if he decided to style himself based off of him, or if he just likes the character that kinda looks like him, which is the much lamer option. And while I really enjoy his enthusiasm because actors that have familiarity with the comic book characters they wish to play usually end up giving pretty great performances, like Michael Chiklis Thing or Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin. But my problem is this is a Supergirl movie, and Lobo isn't in Woman of Tomorrow. So I was already skeptical going in, but now I'm 99% sure that they just wanted a character in here for the boys. Someone they think is cool and come to see fight some bad guys and ride on his motorbike and blow shit up, because you could cut him out of this movie and not much would change. He shows up in like 3 scenes, an establishing scene where he just whines a bunch, a fight scene where Kara does most of the damage, and some guy steals his bike, which is actually pretty funny, and then the end for another fight scene. Doesn't even show up at the end to say bye to Ruthie or Kara, he just leaves on his own, which is kind of funny. And I can see one thing they clearly tried to tack on as a reason for him to be here, how he kind of tries to influence Ruthie and be the devil in a shoulder compared to Kara. But come on man, you have to set that up in more than one scene. Honestly though, I have quite a bit to compliment about the movie. My favourite part being all the flashbacks. We see basically snippets of Kara's life on Krypton. She was born after it exploded and lived in a chunk that they attached some rockets to called Argo City. Her parents were out there as she grew up, and she had to slowly watch the kryptonite poisoning seep into the soil and infect everyone she loved. Meanwhile, Clark was busy being a punk rocker in Kansas. And every segment shown is entirely in Kryptonian. Yet it really fits as a serious and harrowing tale that fuels the anger and self-destructive nature Kara carries with her throughout the entire movie. You can tell just how deeply she feels everything, and yet she just keeps going wherever she can. I love the warm lighting and how it really sets the scenes apart from where Kara is now. It's like being taken over by that cozy feeling of home, and then snapping back to reality and realizing you're working a 9 to 5 for $10 an hour. The lighting is honestly really solid throughout the first act, and I think it kind of falls off when they get to the evil-ass assault planet, as expected. But it confused me seeing people say they should have copied Guardians 2's lighting style for a while. Looking back, I do understand it though. But there's also a couple things I don't like about the movie. And one of these is that Craig Gillespie is not James Gunn. I think licensed music is something a lot of movies don't pull off very well, and it takes someone wanting a specific song and designing a scene around it to really work. The Guardians movies do this extremely well, to use an easy example. But Supergirl doesn't really feel like it was Craig Gillespie trying to make a movie in his style. It feels like he was trying to copy Jimmy's homework a bit. So, update. I was meant to get this video on Friday, but I woke up very late and I had stuff to do that day, so I couldn't get it out, and I had to basically wait because I was busy my entire weekend until today. And since then, some more information has been revealed from DC Studios that there was a second cut of the movie, an 11-minute longer Gillespie cut, if you will, similar to what people say about the Snyder cut and the Ayer cut of Suicide Squad. This was shown in test screenings to other audiences, so they saw both cuts, or some saw one cut, some saw the other, and essentially there was negative feedback towards the Gillespie cut, so DC stepped in and demanded that their cut be the theatrical cut. They're 11 minutes shorter, currently what you see when you go to the cinema to see Supergirl. It's up to question whether this was the right decision, because the Gillespie cut might have had 11 minutes of absolute trash and made the movie so much worse, but test audiences also didn't like Superman saving a squirrel, or the Days of the Week title cards that people have regularly criticized for not including in the movie, which I agree, they definitely should have been there. So maybe it would have improved it, maybe not. I guess we'll only find out if those scenes that particularly, I believe they feature Krem a lot, so they might flesh out his character a lot more, this new version of him in the movie. We might only find out if they would have actually improved or detracted from it if they are included with the DVD release. So until then, I don't really think we're going to know. I can't really include that in any sort of criticism or compliment to the movie, so. And I doubt it was malicious at all, but the whole exciting point of the DCU is seeing all these different creatives collaborate to make projects in their own vision that fit in the same universe. People complained about every Marvel movie being the same. Meanwhile, we're gonna have Superman and Clayface in the same universe just over a year apart. And Supergirl could have been grittier, it could have highlighted more of the differences between Kara and Clark. But sadly, we get questionable needle drops, action scenes that, while cool, can have some repeated moves from Superman 2025, and it just felt off to me. Now, I don't think this makes the movie irredeemable at all. I mean, I watched Dragon Ball Evolution recently. Nothing really phases me anymore. But it makes me wonder about the missed potential, because yeah, I think in another universe, this could have been a movie on par with Superman's quality to me. And this brings me to the title, because yeah, this is a defense of Supergirl, and you can call me biased, you can say I'm wrong, that's all fair and all. But can we just take a second and think about what's being said? This isn't one of the worst comic book movies ever made, okay? Did y'all watch Kraven? Like, I know we all collectively baited Sony into releasing Morbius again and didn't go watch it, but you could strip this movie of all its parts, and the worst sequence is still miles ahead of whatever the hell Gal Gadot was doing in Wonder Woman 84.
And in 50 years, I've only done it once. It was just a coffee cup.
You can dislike as many parts as you want, but no, this isn't going to ruin comic book movies, and it certainly doesn't harken the end of the DCU. It's been a single year, alright? By now Marvel made The Incredible Hulk. I think we're good, bro. That being said, the current conversation of the worst comic book movies has gotten me pretty interested, so let me know if you'd like to see me discuss some of those. Not just Big 2 as well. According to Letterboxd, Verotica, Barbed Wire, and fucking Son of the Mask count. That'll be a fun time. But what I'm really trying to say here is Supergirl is a flawed movie, one that I would have liked to be better, but I'm still satisfied with having watched. There's plenty I liked and plenty I disliked, but when it all comes to a head, any superhero movie that makes children feel seen and gives them a new inspiration to do good in the world is a win. Sure, we'll always appreciate the impact Spider-Man, Batman, Captain America, and Black Panther had, to name a few, but knowing that all across the world, a bunch of girls are resonating with a powerful message about not letting your trauma define you, and realizing that choosing to live is the most powerful action anyone can do. That's enough for me, and I'm happy to give Supergirl 7 out of 10. And if you don't want to end up getting as many piercings as the creme de la creme, I'd suggest you subscribe. YouTube algorithm isn't kind to smaller content creators, and I have recently been diagnosed with inattentive ADHD, which explains why it's so hard for me to finish a video these days. But if you're seeing this, well, I did it. I hope I can keep doing it. I've had a lot of writer's block recently, and I just haven't felt like setting aside the time to finish anything. It's not been very fun, but that doesn't matter now. If you enjoyed the video, like or comment to help with engagement, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. If not though, that's all good, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care, alright? It's getting hotter out there, and I think we all need to be a bit kinder to ourselves, frankly. See ya.
An artist dying for his art to make you